Alabama won the toss and will defer. No surprise, putting its defense on the field first. Adam Griffith. Last time many of you saw him, he was trying that long field goal against Auburn that was returned for the game-winning touchdown. Mario Alford, Russell Shell, a transfer from Pitt, is a very good player and a guy keep an eye on today. They are back for the Mountaineers. And we're underway from Atlanta. Straddling the goal line is Alford. And he gets drilled shy of the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at today's Chick-fil-A impact players.
On offense for West Virginia, Russell Shell has got to be a factor in the run game. Kevin White is their best option on the outside, a big wide receiver, 211 pounds. And Landon Collins, the undisputed leader on defense for Alabama. And Ashawn Robinson played well a year ago. They're expecting big things from him in 2014.
Empty set for the Mountaineers. They'll go fast today on offense. First down from their 18. Out on the flat to Smallwood. Able to shake a tackle and get positive yardage. Gain of a couple before he's dropped by Jonathan Allen. Clint Trickett started 7 games last year, had a shoulder injury. He, like Jake Coker for Alabama, transferred from Florida State. They were teammates at one point. They run it here, and Shell with some room off the left side near the first down at the 27-yard line.
They have been really excited about Russell Shell, the transfer. He's got good size. He's got the shiftiness, 215 pounds. They have got to establish some semblance. They're not going to come out and run the ball 45 times in the interior on Alabama, but they've got to establish some semblance to take pressure off of Clint Trickett.
Referee signaling it's a first down. And keep in mind, Alabama does not have Trey DePriest today. 1 game suspension for a minor NCAA infraction. Some new players on defense, and this is an offense that Alabama struggled with. Nick Saban told us he expects everybody to try to run some form of spread. We're going to see a lot of younger players with speed out there defensively for Bama. And Shell again, straight ahead of the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 7. DJ Petway on the stop.
Back-to-back impressive runs, and this is what West Virginia needs. Positive plays so that they can get the tempo going. They don't get those positive yards, it's hard to have tempo. It's exactly what they wanted to start this game. Get a couple of good positive plays, get Clint Trickett and everybody on offense comfortable.
Here's Shell, picks a hole, finds another first down. So far, West Virginia leading on Alabama's defensive line, running the ball successfully.
I think Alabama and everybody that plays West Virginia comes in to play them on offense thinking that it's going to be almost exclusively a perimeter game. Bubble screens, slip screens, those kinds of plays. And so far, it's been the opposite.
So 2 first downs already in this possession. Now Trickett going to try to swing it out to Mario Alford. And it's second down.
I think it's important to note as well that Alabama, playing these kind of spread teams, will change their personnel up front. They don't play Brandon Ivory at a nose tackle in these kinds of sets. They have Ashawn Robinson playing nose guard, and those guys aren't necessarily used to playing in that position against the run.
Another pass play. There's a dangerous guy, Kevin White, who's loose inside the 40. Kevin White, their biggest and maybe their best, certainly the most potential at receiver. It's a big play. First down in Alabama territory, 29 yards.
We talked about impact players, and Kevin White's got to be the guy on the outside. Bradley Silv just falls down, and that's going to drive Nick Saban crazy. He's the one coaching those corners.
Trickett rolling right, and again finds Kevin White near the 22-yard line. Another solid pickup. Bradley Silv on the coverage, and West Virginia going fast.
They were going fast, and now interesting, they get back in the huddle. That's strange to me. You think when you get these kind of positive plays and momentum on offense that Dana Holgorsen would like to just keep that foot on the gas pedal, but you get in these areas, they may want to take a shot, and they may need to huddle up to get it organized.
See both backs sprint out wide. 2nd down and 2. Still plenty of time on the play clock. And Trickett tries to dump it off. It was batted down. And boy, Kevin White was open across the middle. It was deflected by Jaron Reed.
It was the right read from Clint Trickett. You'll see White coming from right to left, and Jaron Reed saves a completion and another 1st down. Big 3rd down here.
There's so much talk about Alabama's defense in the offseason after giving up 45 points and a loss in the Sugar Bowl. Here's Wendell Smallwood, and he's got another 1st down. This methodical drive, already 9 plays, 63 yards in about 2.5 minutes.
I think you already see Alabama on the inside. They're going to miss C.J. Mosley. We knew that coming into the year. And then Trey DePriest being out. These young players, Reuben Foster, Reggie Ragland in there, it's affecting their run defense.
Those guys are calling the defense today with DePriest out. He talked about Mosley, 1st-round draft choice of the Ravens. 1st down in the red zone. And Trickett. Kevin White inside the 10 to the 5. It's 1st and goal for West Virginia after a 14-yard pickup.
No pass rush from Kirby Smart in this defense so far in this game. And Clint Trickett very comfortable, extends that play, goes through a read, goes back to a secondary receiver, and gets a nice gain.
1st and goal inside the 10. And it's Shell wrapped up by Ragland at the line of scrimmage. Ragland, a junior, making his 1st start, had 17 tackles all of last year.
It's a critical situation for West Virginia to get the ball into the end zone. That was something they struggled mightily with in 2013. They were 103rd in the country.
They'll run it again on 2nd down. Squeaking through a hole is Wendell Smallwood. He gets down to the 2-yard line. So 3rd and goal.
And talking with Dana Holgorsen, he said, you know, we had a lot of yards and a lot of great plays, but you see there, that red zone touchdown percentage, 52% is not good.
See if they run or throw here. 3rd down and goal. Plenty of time on the play clock. 13th play of the drive coming up. Trickett. Fade to the end zone. Incomplete. Going for Alford. Being covered by the guy Nick Saban says might be his most improved defender, Cyrus Jones.
And I don't know about that play call. Alford is 5'9". It's not like he's going to go up and snatch that ball. And this play had no chance. Good job by Cyrus Jones, who, yes, has been, in Nick Saban's opinion, the most improved player on their team from a year ago.
Josh Lambert try a short field goal of about 20 yards. Capitalize on that impressive 1st drive, even though the Mountaineers couldn't punch it in. And West Virginia leads at 3-0.
Good start for Dana. I think he would have really liked to have a touchdown, though. Big on eye discipline, and I think they'll get that figured out.
So Michael Molinari will boot it deep, and you would imagine they do not want Christian Jones to return it. He won this Chick-fil-A kickoff game last year, had 2 touchdowns on returns against Virginia Tech. One on a kick, one on a punt. A deep kick, though, and it will come out to the 20. And Blake Sims, 5th-year senior, waited his turn patiently, was a running back in 2011, then backed up A.J. McCarron the last 2 years, threw 10 passes in 2012, 29 passes last year, also carried the ball 15 times. And Jay Coker, who's from Alabama but went to Florida State, transferred. Most thought he'd get the job day one. He didn't. And now Sims, a guy that Nick Saban says the players love and coaches respect, he gets the first shot.
And that's a big factor, that the players respect him and, quite honestly, will play hard for him.
We'll see what kind of wrinkles Lane Kiffin brings to the offense. A quick throw here by Sims, and a great block downfield, springing on Amari Cooper to midfield before he's pushed out. A gain of about 25 on the first play from scrimmage for Alabama.
I love that play call to start out. Get the ball in your most explosive player's hands. Amari Cooper get a completion for Blake Sims, but watch the block by DeAndrew White. That is textbook blocking on the perimeter. They worked that so much in practice, and that's well done to start the game.
Cooper, 45 catches last year. 2 years ago, had over 1,000 receiving yards, a freshman record at Alabama. Sims to the air again, finding Cooper again. And brought down inside the 45-yard line by Daryl Worley, who will be matched up with Cooper throughout the game.
It's hard to imagine how much pressure is on Blake Sims in this game. The quarterback position for Alabama, you could argue, is the most high-profile position in all of college football with the success that they've had. And to come out this way, get 2 early completions, really like that approach from Lane Kiffin. And quite frankly, to calm Lane Kiffin down as well.
Gain of 7 on that last play after 24 on the previous. They're going to run it here with big Derrick Henry, who picks up the first down inside the 40. At 6'3", 240 pounds, he averaged 11 yards a carry last year.
And there's no secret about what Alabama wants to do in this game. Yes, they will distribute the ball to some of the best skill in all of college football, but they're going to come downhill at West Virginia, who runs that 3-3-5 defense and is susceptible to that downhill running game.
Got Henry, Drake, and of course TJ Yeldon, back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Sims eludes pressure and hits White toward the sideline, wrapped up and thrown down by Chestnut. So a gain of about 3 yards there to the 33-yard line. Going to be interesting with Lane Kiffin, who, when he was a coordinator previously, called plays from the booth. But as a head coach, when he called plays, he was down on the field. That's where he's going to be this year.
Yeah, and I think that's the right decision, both from Nick Saban's perspective as well as Lane Kiffin. You got to be down there for an emotional standpoint to get a young offense at the quarterback position settled down in situations.
There's TJ Yeldon off the edge. Stretches to the 30-yard line. KJ Dillon on the tackle.
But not only that, you know, in talking with Coach Saban last night, he really felt like the ability to communicate through Lane Kiffin being down on the sideline was going to benefit their offense, to anticipate what they were going to do on the next drive, to be able to talk to the linemen, the running backs. He said, you're the one installing the plays and has the relationship with all these players. They need to see your face down here on the sideline, and I think Lane Kiffin agrees with it.
3rd down and 4. Sims with time, and that pass incomplete. Tried to hit Cooper, and it's 4th down, and Bama will try a field goal.
Great read, poor throw. Blake Sims gets back, he's in good position. Here comes Cooper, there he is. You just got to put that out in front of him, and he might get 15 more yards, but those are the kinds of mistakes that, you know, you chalk up to nerves. And Nick Saban on the sideline said, you know, you miss a throw, at least you don't make a wrong decision, a poor decision to throw the ball in coverage. That's just a fundamental.
Adam Griffith made just 1 field goal last year, but he buries this one from 47 yards to tie the game at 3. Alabama had some big plays on that opening drive, but the drive stalled on 3rd down and 4. Much to the frustration of Lane Kiffin. They get 3 though. And it's opening possession stopped at the 30. Adam Griffith just kicked a long field goal, now kicking off. And Alford will take it out. And breaks a tackle. Stays in bounds as he runs upfield. And they're going to actually spot him at the 27-yard line. So he did step out there. Rick Trickett, father, one-time coach with Nick Saban at LSU. Clint hoping to make his dad proud today. 4 of 7 on that opening drive.
You know, I think the big thing with Clint Trickett and Dana Holgorsen was telling us last night, it's been a night and day difference. His recognition and his understanding of this up-pace air raid offense last year to this year, operating at a much faster pace, and Dana's excited about it.
Trickett trying to set up the screen to Smallwood. Excellent blocking. Smallwood out past the 40. A gain of 14 before Cyrus Jones gets him out of bounds.
Great blocking on the screen by the offensive line. That's normally the key. The center, Tyler Orlovsky, gets outside and gets a block on Reuben Foster, which springs the outside.
And open on the slant is Jordan Thompson. Guy the coaches say needs to step up. He did there, making that catch.
You know, the other thing about Trickett is his football IQ, Dana says, is through the roof. I mean, they can do anything they want with him now. And now that he's healthy and that shoulder is back intact and feeling good, get this offense revved up.
Here's another first down. Catch made by Alford. Going off his speed, getting past Cyrus Jones inside the 40. You know, the other thing, these receivers now have experience. Remember last year, they're trying to replace Tavon Austin and Stedman Bailey. Trickett was working with a lot of new faces. Now these guys have reps. Now it's a 17-yard pickup. And Smallwood just stumbled that time. May have gotten back to the line of scrimmage.
And that's a big play too, because it allows Alabama to substitute. You see guys coming off. When West Virginia substitutes, Alabama finally gets an opportunity to substitute, and those big guys up front, they're looking for some water on the sideline.
Naturally lost a yard, so second down and 11. Again, empty set as those backs split wide.
Alabama's confused.
Trickett with time, going deep for White, just overthrown. Collins with good coverage that time on Kevin White. It'll make it 3rd and long.
Landon Collins, a very physical safety who's got this cover skills to go on the outside. I think they like that matchup with he on Kevin White because Collins is so big, 6 feet, 222 pounds. It looked like he got away with a little bit of hand check in there. That could have easily been a penalty. Third and 11 here. You got to be smart with your Trickett. You get 5 or 6 yards, you can attempt a field goal. If you take a sack, you got to punt.
Yeah, their kicker's long as 50, so they can get it to around the 32. They have a shot. Trickett in trouble and sacked at the 43-yard line. Xavier Dixon. 4th down.
Xavier Dixon coming from his right defensive end position. He beats Adam Pankey. There he is right here. He just goes right around Pankey, and that was an easy sack. Your Trickett, you got to know, you got to anticipate. Look, I'm in a 3rd down situation, and the skill that they have to rush the passer might be a little bit better than my tackle, and I got to be quick with that ball.
O'Toole booting it away. Mountaineers have some guys down there, but they can't keep it from going into the end zone. It's a touchback. Alabama's ball when we come back. Although there is a penalty marker down at the 10-yard line. ACC crew today, and we're going to see games where we have an 8th official this year, but because this is a interconference matchup, going to be 7 officials, and you'll see an extra one in some
illegal
ACC
block
games.
in the back on the return team. 5 yard, half a distance to the goal, 1st down.
And David Epperly pointing the wrong way, but it's against Alabama. So they'll be backed up on this drive after getting a sack to stop West Virginia and force a punt. 3-3 here in Atlanta. Cincinnati Bengal former Alabama quarterback A.J. McCarron placed on the non-football injured list. He's been battling a shoulder injury, something that was bothering him last year as well. His replacement, Blake Sims, backed up on his second possession as a starter at the 5-yard line. They're going to run T.J. Yeldon here. Yeldon out to the 8 for about 3 yards.
And again, another situation here for Blake Sims to show his management skills with the offense backed up inside their own 10-yard line.
And starting defensive lineman senior Dontrell Hyman shaken up on the play. West Virginia trying to replace Will Clark, who was a 3rd-round draft choice, and they have Hyman and also Shaq Riddick, who's a transfer from Gardner Webb that they're relying on. Done a good job so far. 2nd down and 7. So far, Blake Sims 3 of 4 passing.
Checking at the line of scrimmage. Good sign, taking control in the noise.
Yeldon drilled in the backfield right as he received the handoff by K.J. Dillon. A big loss inside the 5.
Well, it looked like he checked it at the line of scrimmage. I don't think it was the right check, though. You see Dillon come right off the edge. A lot of times, quarterbacks and offensive coordinators, they will check a run to one side of the field or the other based on where you think the blitz is coming from. And that time, Blake Sims guessed wrong.
There's true freshman left tackle Cam Robinson, #1 rated tackle, according to our own Tom Luganville. Now penalty flag. I think they had too many guys on the field. Dana Holgerson was trying to call a timeout. Yeah, they had 12 guys out there on defense. He did get the timeout.
West Virginia. Their charge timeout of the half will be a 30-second timeout.
So it remains 3rd down and 11. We'll see how Blake Sims handles this. A new challenge presents itself with every play for a first-time starting quarterback. Let's take a look at, when talking with Nick Saban, his 3 keys for success as a quarterback in his offense.
Yeah, well, we asked him, well, how are you going to judge whether it's Blake Sims or Jacob Coker in this game? And he had 3 things. He said, you know what? They need to process information very quickly. There's a lot of things coming at the quarterback, rapid fire. They've got to handle all of that and get everybody in the right play. Then it's judgment, and we know this about Nick Saban. Protect the football, protect your defense, don't make that catastrophic error. And then the last thing is leadership, and you know that's underrated so much in college football and pro football. But the thing that jumps out to me, Dave, about that list, there's no arm strength on there. There's no speed and mobility and escapability and all those things. All those things are from the neck up, and I think that's what's going to make the difference between who gets this job going forward.
He's going to throw from his end zone and has time and has a completion right at the 1st down marker. Amari Cooper on the catch at the 15-yard line. Worley and Joseph teamed up on the tackle, and he's short, or is he? No, 1st down. They gave it to him.
I mean, you can't jam Amari Cooper at the line of scrimmage, and Darryl Worley is the best corner on the West Virginia team, and unfortunately for West Virginia, he has no shot at staying with Amari Cooper at the line of scrimmage.
A little surprised they didn't measure there. They just gave him the 1st down, but no argument from the West Virginia sideline. You got a 2-back set here, with Fowler as the fullback, Yeldon behind him. Yeldon bounces it to the outside and chopped down at the 19.
No, guys, I don't know if we can devalue how important that throw was from Blake Sims, backed up into his own end zone from a confidence standpoint, and also from how his teammates view him under pressure in a situation where they've got to get out and they've got to get something going. This is not an offense in rhythm right now. They've got to set the tone, get the momentum back onto their sideline. As we see Lane Kiffin right now interacting with Blake Sims, and he's been in the huddle with Nick Saban off of the sideline each and every time, dealing with this football team on the little things, little nuances from the receiver, talking to Amari Cooper, making sure they're setting pass protections between the back, the quarterback, and then certainly with a true freshman left tackle, Cam Robinson. But it's about rhythm. And Brian, we talked about rhythm with Nick Saban, and that was really the key as to why Blake Sims got the starting nod. He just was instinctively doing things in a rhythmic fashion that Jacob Coker was not there yet.
Yeah, it's a great point, Lugs. I mean, it's something for a quarterback on 3rd and 11 with your feet in your own end zone to stand in there and fire across the middle of the field and get a conversion. That'll do wonders for someone's confidence.
They'll run it on 2nd down and 6, and Yeldon gets out to the 23. Terrell Chestnut was banged up on the previous play. Now that could be important because West Virginia already without Ishmael Banks, one of their better corners, he's suspended. So now you're down 2 guys at that position for a key 3rd down and 2.
I think any time that Alabama gets in a 3rd and 4 or less, you're going to get a run. Yeldon, Henry, one of those guys. They feel very confident in converting in those situations.
You saw Sims there directing traffic. That's Yeldon. Play clock down to 5. Going to be a pass play. Pressure off the edge. And Sims gets rid of it to Cooper. It's a 1st down to the 27. Well, Sims took a shot too, but released it just in time.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion there on the protection. They had a free rusher from the outside on the left. You see it very late. TJ Yeldon was getting back outside. And Blake Sims was lucky to get that ball out.
Able to pick up the 1st down. Only 1 incompletion for Sims so far. Off play action now. Sims in trouble. Gets away from 3 Mountaineers and almost throws an interception. Instead of just throwing it away that time, took a chance. He was being pressured by 3 Mountaineers on that far sideline. 2nd down.
That was a good play by Blake Sims. They had a jailbreak up front, and he's just trying to throw this football away. Now, as he gets more reps at it, he'll understand that if I'm outside the pocket, I can fire that thing into row 37 and I'll be fine. But that's just reps, you know, and he hasn't had those reps in a live game, and lucky that one wasn't intercepted.
They'll run on 2nd down. Off the edge, Yeldon. A terrific back. Consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. 5th Alabama player with multiple 1,000-yard seasons. You think of all the great running backs they've had here the last few years. He's right up there with Lacey, Richardson, and Ingram.
Yeah, the thing that jumped out on film, and when I watched him in practice last week, is, you know, he has the size, over 220 pounds, is his feet. You know, when they go through those bag drills as a running back, he had the best feet of anybody on the team. And that's really amazing and very useful, making cuts in traffic in the holes in the middle of the field.
Well, that last 3rd down and 2, they threw the ball. Let's see what they do here from their own 35-yard line. Play fake and a little half roll. Now Sims trying to earn it himself, and he's tackled close to the 1st down marker by Carl Joseph. See where they spot it here. They're going to measure this one.
You know, that's a play where Lane Kiffin calls a naked, and he's calling a naked thinking that at worst Blake's going to drop the ball to the flat route and get a 1st down, right? And I think right there he had the flat route, and Blake didn't get back to it, tried to make a play on his own, and may have come up a little bit short.
You know, you see the relationship there with Saban and Kiffin. A lot of people, when that decision was made to hire Lane Kiffin, wondered, really? It just didn't seem like a fit. But Lane Kiffin is someone that's been on Nick Saban's radar for a while. It is a 1st down. In fact, Lane told us yesterday that, you know, back when he was at USC as an assistant coach, Saban had reached out to him a couple times, respected Kiffin as a play caller and an offensive mind, and he hired him this offseason to replace Doug Nussmeier.
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me in our conversation with Nick was that there's not a whole lot of pro-style offensive coordinators in college football to choose from.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's running the spread offense, and he really valued Lane Kiffin, his approach as a pro-style coach.
Henry on 1st down, leaps to the 40-yard line for 3. Saban told us he thought about going with some spread principles because so many teams were doing it, but just didn't want to make that transition in part because of personnel.
I don't think he thought very long about it. You know who Nick Saban is down to his core, and he wants to run the football, be big and physical, and he said, you know, teams are having trouble now preparing for us because everybody has the skill to run the spread offense.
hole here for Derrick Henry. Able to break an ankle tackle and reach the 45-yard line of West Virginia.
Great job on the weak side of that offensive line. You're going to see O.J. Howard and Cam Robinson, the true freshmen. They're right here. They get a great slip block up to the linebacker, and good vision by Derrick Henry to cut that ball back. And when he gets in the open field, he is hard to tackle. You can't go after his legs because his legs are so long. He just picks up his knees and you whiff.
18 yards on that play. All-time leading rusher in high school, over 12,000 yards in high school. They go two back again. That's a ultimate heavy package with those two guys in the backfield. Henry at 240 behind his 250-pound fullback inside the 45-yard line. Final seconds here of the opening quarter. Surprised by what you've seen so far?
If you're Dana Holgorsen, you got to be thrilled that your offense has come out and moved the football. They didn't convert in the end zone on that first drive, but to be tied 3-3 with Alabama after the first quarter, he's got to be very happy.
One quarter in the books here in Atlanta. West Virginia and the #2 team in the country, Alabama, tied at 3. Both universities, school presidents, Dr. Judy Bonner of Alabama, Dr. E. Gordon Gee of West Virginia on hand for the presentation. Today, Chick-fil-A has also awarded over $30 million in college scholarships to restaurant employees.
You know, Alabama crosses the 50-yard line here. Prime opportunity to take a play-action shot over the top, maybe to Mari Cooper.
And some movement up front, contact by the defensive line on the center, Ryan Kelly.
Offside on the defense, number 95, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That'll make it 2nd and 2.
Check out the young man's cadence. That was a hard count. A lot of times when you have a change of quarter and the offensive coordinator has the whole offense over on the side of the field, you can do things like that. Trick play, snap count, because you can communicate it. One of the advantages of having Lane Kiffin down on the sideline, that time it worked out for Alabama, brings up a 2nd and short.
He had the whole offense on the field during that timeout, huddling up Nick Saban in there as well. 2nd down and 2 after the penalty. And Sims with all day, but everybody covered. And now Sims finds an open man. It's Jones inside the 20. Wrapped up and body slammed by Kwiatkowski, but the big gain, 22 yards.
Great read by Blake Sims and keeping his eyes downfield. He wanted to throw the ball at the top, but it was covered by the safety. So he flips sides of the field, doesn't panic. Run it from here, guys, and you'll see keeps his eyes downfield. It's covered. Comes back at the other side, and a great adjustment by Christian Jones to get upfield. That's the kind of poise that Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin are looking for from their quarterback. Don't panic. Don't get into the rat trap, as Nick Saban likes to say. Keep your eyes downfield and make a play.
And he's checking here. 1st down, 14th play of the drive. Play clock at 0. Let's see if Saban called a timeout.
Timeout, Alabama. Their first charge timeout of the first half. Media timeout.
As well as the quarterbacks, and right there he goes down and calls a timeout to try to save 5 yards. Want your quarterback to make a play and then come back consistently on the next play and don't lose sight of the play clock. That's what he was saying to him.
1st down at the 15-yard line of West Virginia. Run play, big hole, Yeldon outside, dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. $14 rushing touchdowns last year.
Great effort.
#1 in 2014 for TJ Yeldon.
One of the things that makes him so special is his body control. With his feet in the air, being able to get around the pylon. We've seen that time and time again from TJ Yeldon. It's a big reason why he's one of the best backs in the country.
95-yard drive. Remember, Blake Sims had a big completion from deep in his own end zone to keep that drive alive. They're looking at this just to make sure that he kept the foot in bounds, but as we showed you, clearly he was in. It's a touchdown, Alabama's first lead of the game. There's 3-0 West Virginia. And the Mountaineers couldn't punch it in from 2 yards out. And then Alabama scored the last 9, looking to make it 10 straight with the point after by Griffith. Alabama on top, 10-3 over the Mountaineers. Yeldon for Pater. Lane Kiffin dialing it by Alabama. 30 yards for Yeldon on that possession. And the Crimson Tide on top. And a deep kick. That'll come out to the 25 for West Virginia. But first, let's go back to the studio. All right, Robert, and I know, Grease, you feel Auburn still is a playoff caliber team, where there's a lot of people that think it was just a one-year wonder.
Are you one of those?
No, I'm with you. I think they definitely are a playoff caliber team.
Nobody has stopped that offense yet. So once they do that, then I'll start talking about them otherwise.
Kind of a touch shovel pass to Jordan Thompson. Good play. Out to the 39-yard line. 14 yards on the pickup.
Big drive here for West Virginia and Clint Trickett. You give up a touchdown on a drive, you have confidence that Alabama has not stopped this offense yet. Come out here and get some points.
Thought it was nice to say the word playoff on a college football game. Dreamus Smith getting the touch here out near the 45-yard line. There's still some fans that don't know all the details. It's going to be a 4-team college football playoff, 2 semifinal games, January 1st, and then a national championship game some 10 days later. And it's a 13-member committee that picks it. No polls, no computers. Trickett with time. And that pass wide, intended for Kevin White. 3rd down and 5.
And they want to keep the tempo here. Even though you have an incompletion, they want to keep the tempo so that Alabama can't substitute, get their big people off the field. There's confusion on Alabama's defense right now.
Just 1 of 3 on 3rd down.
And what you see from West Virginia is they just get up on the line. They hadn't called a play, and then they call the play after they get it from the sideline.
Pass to the flat for Alford, and he's into Alabama territory. A nice block on the outside that time to spring Alford to the 41 of the Tide.
And that's a microcosm of the advantage of this offense is hurry up, get the personnel you want on the field, then take a look. And from the sideline, Dana Holgorsen sees he's got him outflanked and takes it for a 1st down.
Got Trickett with time, completes to Alford again. There's some holes in that secondary again today, like we saw in the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma.
Great protection there. I had questions as to whether West Virginia could protect. Take a look at this pocket on the right side. Perfect for him to step into that throw.
Alford just dropped that one. Tried to set up a play, screen there for the wide receiver with Thompson blocking. There's already 16 attempts by Trickett in the game to 8 for his counterpart Blake Sims on the other side.
Well, if they're going to have success, continued success, they need Mario Alford to continue to make plays. Can't just be Kevin White. They need Alford. They need Takeel Shorts, Jordan Thompson, and some of these younger receivers that Dana Holgorsen likes need to step up and make plays on a consistent basis.
Their kicker has the leg to make it from 50. 3rd down and 2. Play action, and Trickett has a 1st down. Elijah Wellman inside the 25-yard line. That's a terrific call there.
Now the left defensive end goes inside for Alabama. He's got contained. Looked like it may have been Denzel Duvall. He lost contain, and that was an easy conversion for West Virginia.
And they go back to that full house backfield here on 1st down. Wendell Smallwood. He's inside the 20, dragged down by Reggie Ragland at the 19-yard line. So a gain of 3 or 4 on 1st down.
And again, we're getting into this area of the field, the red zone, where Kirby Smart likes to dial up blitzes, likes to dial up pressure. try to get a sack on the quarterback and knock him out of field goal range. And Dana Holgorsen has got to be said coming into this season, red zone is a priority for us. We can't just get yards. We need points.
Well, they got yards last time they got down to the 2, but then they couldn't get it home for 6 points. Had to settle for the field goal. Trick it off, play action, going end zone. And it is caught. Did he hold on? Yes! Touchdown, Kevin White. What a grab with Bradley Sill all over him. Kevin White with star potential, a terrific catch.
Kevin White, 6'3", 211 pounds, and he looks put together nicely. He's got muscles on top of muscles. He just out-muscles Bradley Sill there, and that's, for Alabama fans, they saw too much of that in the Sugar Bowl. 4 touchdown passes against Oklahoma. Trevor Knight, that was how they scored, was on 101 individual routes on the outside.
How about Trickett on that possession? 5 of 7, 65 yards. Great response by West Virginia. Go 9 plays, 75 yards in just over 2 minutes. And Lambert just sneaks it through. We're tied at 10. Well, you said it. Kevin White had to be a factor today, and he's been so far.
And absolutely. And Clint Trickett has got maximum confidence in his ability to make plays.
Alabama. So who was the last team to defeat a Saban coach team to start a season?
Oh.
I'm going to say it was when he was at Michigan State.
Yeah, I was going to say you got to go probably back out of the SEC. I don't think he lost me at LSU. But maybe.
Well, some folks in the truck just said, when you said that. So there's some doubters as to whether we're accurate.
Michigan State played Notre Dame if you thought they played them early in the year.
Early second quarter here in Atlanta, tied at 10. Dave Pasch, Brian Gracie, Tom Luganville. And some intriguing opening weekend games, including this one. It'll come out to the 25 here for Alabama. As we said, each possession poses new challenges for Blake Sims and for Lane Kiffin. See how they handle this with West Virginia responding nicely. So far, Blake Sims 6 of 8, 70 yards.
I think it's important to note, there's no Jacob Coker. There's no even mention of Jacob Coker. You don't see him warming up the sideline. I think what they decided was Blake Sims, this was his game. And if he went out and performed and ran the offense and was efficient and managed the game, that he's going to stay in there. And so far, Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban have been happy with what they've seen from number 6.
It's really the defense right now that's the issue. Run play to Drake, and he gets nothing. And Mountaineers flocked to the football that time. Carl Joseph was the first man there. A minimal gain on first down. Drake, one of those other talented running backs that Alabama has in its stable, but couldn't get running room there off the right side.
Well, this West Virginia defense was downright awful last year. They were 9th in the Big 12. They gave up 455 yards a game, and so they came into this game knowing that it was going to be a stiff challenge, but so far they've been up to the challenge.
Play action, Sims rolling out and fires, incomplete. Boy, DeAndrew White was wide open. Sims would like to have that one back. It's 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, he's wide open. It's just it's a naked here. It's one read. You're going to see DeAndrew White coming from right to left. And this is a throw you got to make. And I think you get in those situations and a guy is so wide open and you see Blake react. He's so wide open that sometimes you pull the string on it and it goes haywire. But he's had 2 of those so far that he'd like to have back.
Now it's 3rd down and 9. Sims' pass is caught by Cooper, but he's nowhere near the first down. So Alabama has to punt the football.
And that's the first time in this game where I've seen the offense for Alabama and Blake Sims get a little out of sorts. And Nick Saban talking to him right now on the sideline. you have one bad play, and you got to forget about it and come back and make the next play. And I think Lane Kiffin was just trying to get out of Dodge and punt the football away.
First collegiate punt for J.K. Scott, a true freshman, about 6'5", 155. And he hammers this one. Jordan Thompson fields it at his 10, wrapped up. They'll mark him down at the 6-yard line. Quite a debut for the true freshman from Denver. A major field position shift. 58 yards on the punt. And West Virginia backed up inside its 10. And then, of course, he's won 3 with the Crimson Tide. 3 of the final 5 BCS championships. West Virginia on first down. A big hole again running the football. They can't bring Shell down. He's out near the 20-yard line for 14 yards.
Well, they're going to put the hammer down. West Virginia is on offense. Look at the speed now. Look at Alabama on defense. Looking to the sideline. They haven't lined up yet. They have got Alabama on their heels. Run pass. West Virginia's in control of the pace of this game.
Now trick it to the air. And a dangerous pass there. Ragland was all over Cody Clay, but it's incomplete. And this has been one of the discussions in the offseason. How will Alabama defend spread offenses after what Oklahoma did, and obviously Johnny Manziel and Auburn? Now, those are teams with pretty good quarterbacks. Clint Trickett has played well so far in this game. I think the running between the tackles against Alabama, how much success West Virginia's had, that's surprising.
Well, and to be fair, you know, Alabama's played more than just A&M and Oklahoma. They played Ole Miss as an up-tempo and they throttled them. So talent has something to do with it.
Shell brought down from behind at the 23-yard line. A gain of 3 that time. Jaron Reed on the stop.
But to your point, I think the biggest difference is that Kirby Smart and Nick Saban have to play different on the interior of their defensive line. They can't have the big run stuffers, Brandon Ivory types in there. They've got to play smaller players like Petway and Jonathan Allen on the inside of that defensive line so that they can chase down screens and be athletic enough to stay on the field for 8 or 9 plays.
Tide looking to steal back momentum here and get a stop. Empty set on 3rd down and 7. Here comes a middle screen and open. Smallwood got the first down. Leveled at the 36-yard line. But West Virginia, another 3rd down conversion.
Great block by the center, Orlovsky. Take a look at him right in the middle of the screen. He's going to get out on the 2nd level. This is well designed. He gets the block on the linebacker. It gets a big first down.
They go right back to the ground this time. Smith is stuck after a gain of a couple by Jonathan Allen making his first start. Now, Alabama lost a lot on defense, but they also have a lot of guys back, including Allen. Played some last year as a freshman.
And you hear a lot about how important that first down is in the no huddle, because now you get those guys, those defensive linemen that are in their 5th and 6th play where they start to get tired.
Trickett to throw on 2nd down and 8. And a long pass juggled and incomplete. Devontae Mathis could not hang on. Would have been near a first down. Instead, it's 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, the room for error for West Virginia on offense is pretty small. You got to make those plays. And Dana Holgorsen was saying he's looking for another wide receiver or 2 between Mathis and Logan Moore, Vernon Davis, KJ Myers, one of them.
Trickett gets rid of it. Incomplete. Intended for Smith. So Alabama's defense steps up after giving up a first down and forces a West Virginia punt.
And this is where Trickett, you know, in his leadership, being a 5th-year guy, can really begin to affect some of these younger players that need to step up and make plays. You can't accept dropping the ball like that. If I'm Clint Trickett on that sideline, I'm going up to each and every one of those guys to say, we have an opportunity to be in this game, but you have got to make those plays.
Christian Jones is deep. And the fair catch signal, and the fair catch made inside the 12-yard line. Good punt. Coming up Sunday night, the heat is on here in Atlanta. Only 2 races left until the chase. The Oral-B USA 500. Sunday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN with Kevin Harvick on the pole. Now, Alabama was backed up earlier at its 5-yard line and went 95 yards. Let's see how the Tide handle this possession. Tied midway through the second quarter. They're at their 12-yard line. Blake Sims has taken every snap at quarterback. Play fake here for Sims. And in trouble. Escapes pressure and runs. And good open field stop by Carl Joseph. Minimal gain for Blake Sims.
Now, there was nobody open downfield, and that play was deteriorating quickly. And just the athleticism of Blake Sims to see behind him and get outside the pocket and get anything positive in that situation. That's managing the game and not taking a sack there, not forcing the ball down the field, but using your legs to get something positive. I think that's what they're looking for out of Blake Sims.
Lane Kiffin calling plays there, upper left-hand corner.
There he is. He wants him to get going. You want your call the play in the huddle, get out of the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage with enough on the play clock, and they don't have enough.
No, they broke the huddle with 10 on the play clock. That's why you saw Kiffin giving that signal. And it was at 2, and Nick Saban called timeout. That's twice now they've had to call a timeout in those situations. Yeah, not eligible, Robert, last year, but he's back for the Irish. Meanwhile, Alabama, after having to call timeout, facing a 2nd and 8, now a penalty marker down.
False start. Offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Brian Vogler commits the penalty. That's really bad out of a timeout.
Yeah, no, it's you communicate the play. There shouldn't be any questions as to what the play is, and that's just a mental error on Vogler.
Sims from his goal line. Everybody covered again. Sims takes off. And a good tackle again in the open field by Kwiatkowski. Been hard for Sims to get loose.
You know, in that situation, typically you have an outlet, you have a check down. There was no check down and nobody was open downfield. I wonder if that's a miscommunication. You look at Blake Sims. He's getting the play now. He'll take you through what he has to go through. He's getting the play from the sideline. Then he's looking at his wristband. You gotta make sure you call this play accurately. There's a lot of words that go in, 20 to 25 words, and you come out of the huddle. You got to make sure everybody's lined up right. You might have motion. You got to check the play clock. There's a lot of thinking going on for a quarterback.
Here he is on 3rd down and 7, and Sims finds Cooper. Cooper gets the first down and more. Out to the 32-yard line. But the Tide pick up 3rd down and 7. A big play.
And when all else fails and things start to go squirrely, throw it to your best player, Amari Cooper. That's basically a clear out. You clear out one side of the field and you bring Cooper underneath in man-to-man coverage. And Worley, as we mentioned, just can't stick with Amari Cooper.
The gain of 17 yards. By the way, I did notice on the sideline that for the first time, Jacob Cooper, the backup quarterback, was warming up, had his helmet on, was throwing the ball on the sideline. We'll see what that means. 6 minutes to go in the half. Here's big Derrick Henry trying to cut it back. Runs into a wall of West Virginia defenders at the 35, so a 3-yard pickup. Wes Tonkery was the first man to greet him.
And this is a change up here. It looks like Lane Kiffin wants to go a no huddle, which I would not have expected in this situation with a quarterback that's pretty fresh.
Sims to the air, and it's pulled in by Cooper for a first down. Amari Cooper battled some injuries last year and had 14 fewer catches than he did as a freshman. Got 10 yards on this play.
You watch him in practice and you watch him in games last year. He's one of the smoothest players in all of college football. When you see smooth players like that get out of their cuts, they're going to make a lot of plays.
Henry finds a gap. into West Virginia territory. Picked up 9 yards there before he's brought down by Joseph and Hyman.
You know, maybe Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban here think that you need to get a little momentum on offense and a little bit of rhythm. So you go a couple of plays in the no huddle and keep the defense off balance. Now they're back in the huddle. This is kind of interesting to watch. We wondered how this offense would be different with Lane Kiffin, or how it would be the same. And I think what you've seen is 2 back, run the football, play action, mix in a little bit of no huddle. There's some more audibles than I saw last year with this team, so a little bit different.
2nd down and 2, little pistol formation. Henry trying to bounce it to the outside, cannot get the first down. Brought down by Kwiatkowski. Wachuku in there as well. You also see Kiffin doing a lot of communicating with his quarterback pre-snap and also in between plays. Nick Saban's been over there a lot next to Lane as well on the sideline.
Nick said he wasn't going to try to communicate in series, but he's been there every play.
Can't imagine he's not saying anything. 3rd down and a long yard. Power football, and Yeldon able to push past the marker and get the first down. Nearing 4 minutes to go here in the first half, tied at 10. Alabama with 1 timeout remaining. Now they get quickly up to the line. Sims to the flat, and a big hit as DeAndre White was nailed by Daryl Worley. He did hang out of the football, so he actually lost a few yards.
Great anticipation from Worley. Mari Cooper takes a false step and misses that block on the inside, and Worley is lucky. Alabama's lucky that wasn't a fumble from DeAndre White. Good job just holding on to that football.
A loss of 3 on the play. Second down and 13. West Virginia with over 200 yards of total offense. Alabama at 188 here in the first half. Sims, and that one's juggled and incomplete. White couldn't hang on, so it brings up 3rd down and 13. KJ Dillon was on the coverage that time. White could not make the catch.
It's 3rd down and 12 here. I fully expect Tony Gibson, defensive coordinator for West Virginia, to try to bring some pressure, try to heat up a young quarterback, try to confuse him. It's a great opportunity for him and Tom Bradley to dial something up.
4th defensive coordinator they've had at West Virginia in 4 years. Tony Gibson, who had been on the staff at his first run as the DC with West Virginia. Play fake on 3rd down and long. Sims throwing it underneath to White. Makes a couple of men miss. White still going inside the 35. Inside the 20-yard line. And finally knocked out of bounds. Great run after the catch by DeAndre White. 38 yards.
And how many times did we see that from the West Virginia defense last year? You get the throw underneath, you just got to come up and make the tackle, and then you're getting off the field. But 3, 4, 5 guys miss DeAndre White. Great effort on his part, but West Virginia played that perfectly, just couldn't come up and make the tackle.
And now they've got a couple guys down. Actually, one guy, it looks like it's KJ Dillon, who's shaken up on the play. But now, instead of getting the ball back with 2 timeouts, some time on the clock to move down the field, maybe get more points before the break, you're looking at giving up points. After being unable to get off the field, you give up 38 yards on 3rd down and 13. That's the longest play by either team today. And while Dillon tries to get off the field, let's check in with Tom, who's been hanging around that Alabama sideline near Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, and just seeing Nick Saban walk up to Blake Sim, give him some words of encouragement, slap a 5, but it's really been Lane Kiffin's demeanor. Whether there's been peaks and valleys in this first half, he's maintained the same level-headed poise on the sideline, and your players are going to emulate that. So with that big play right there, he wasn't caught up in it. He immediately turned around to the sideline, tried to locate his next personnel grouping for their red zone package, and off we go. Good calm and control from Lane Kiffin.
And a first down and goal at the West Virginia 8-yard line. Here's Yeldon. Yeldon dives. And he's down just short of the goal line. Already 1 touchdown today. Yeldon looking for number 2. It'll be second and goal at the 1.
Look how his athletic move by TJ Yeldon. Flying through the air, he comes up just short.
They're quickly to the line here, Grease. They're going to snap it quick, and then a timeout call.
Previous play is under further review.
By the officials.
The ruling on the field is the ball was short of the goal line.
Again, it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling on the field, and from that initial replay you saw, did not look like he was near the goal line. He's down there. Can't see the ball anyway. Clearly, all you see is his helmet that's across the plane. So it'll be second down and goal from the 1.
You're right, though. What a major momentum shift in this game. That 1 3rd down play, DeAndrew White makes that play. If they get him on the ground, you're right. They get the football back and could potentially go down and get points and take a lead at halftime. And now it's going to be tough to keep Alabama out of the end zone.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Second down.
Now, because West Virginia goes so quickly, even if they do surrender points here, they'll have some time on offense, depending on what happens here, of course, on second and goal at the 1. Alabama twice now been backed up inside its 15-yard line and been able to march down the field on West Virginia.
I'd keep an eye out for the big fullback, Jalston Fowler. He was their touchdown machine last year. They love on second downs in these situations, play action.
Yeah, he had 7 catches last year. 5 were for scores. It's Yeldon, and Yeldon is in. Touchdown, Alabama. Crimson Tide back on top. Second score today for Yeldon.
And Alabama fans may mark that drive down in this season because didn't start out very well. It was shaky from Blake Sims. We saw Jacob Coker get his helmet on, start warming up, and then a big play to DeAndrew White may have changed the complexion of that position in this game.
So a 13-play, 88-yard drive capped by the Yeldon touchdown. One after makes it 17-10, Alabama. Take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by AT&T. Florida State plays Oklahoma State tonight on ABC. And so far, the only team to fall in the top 10, South Carolina. Boy, A&M look really good on offense. South Carolina give up over 700 yards. Again, the rankings are not supposed to be a factor when the committee starts to meet and starts to select their rankings late October.
So you're saying none of the committee are looking at the polls?
I'm not saying that, but that's what they're supposed to say. You know, you've got 13 members on the committee, including Oliver Luck, who's the athletic director at West Virginia, and we had a chance to chat with him yesterday. He said he'll be watching as many games as he can. All the members of the committee have been given iPads to watch games.
I thought it was interesting what he said. You know, I try to watch as much football as he can, but as an athletic director, Saturdays you got your own team you're watching, and then for Oliver, he's got this son that happens to play in the National Football League that he wants to go watch him too. So it's going to be hard for these guys to watch all these games.
Here's Alford on the return. And Alford able to shake one tackle. Alford is loose. Look out. Alford past midfield. The race is on. Alford will take it all the way. Touchdown, Mountaineers. Yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Alford. Just when you think Alabama seizes momentum, West Virginia again responds with a big play and score.
There was a huge gap in that coverage for the Alabama kick unit. A nice block by Russell Shell, the running back, that sprung him for the touchdown.
stuttered at the 15-yard line. Looked like he was going to get tackled there. And then he just outran some of the special teams members for the Crimson Tide to the house. And they were looking just to make sure that he didn't step out of bounds at any point. He stayed in, so it is a touchdown. Lambert looking to tie it with 1:43 to go in the half. And all even at 17.
Take a look at this highway to the end zone that Mario Alford had. Great blocking at the point of attack, and then one little stutter step, you're right, and then gets around the outside. That was Derrick Henry. That's on special teams. Alabama uses a lot of starters on their special teams unit. Landon Collins, Derrick Henry, they're all on that kickoff unit, and Mario Alford and his speed may have just been a nominee for SportsCenter Top 10.
Well, you talked about it earlier. Nick Saban wants to run the football, manage the game, special teams, great emphasis on that. We're used to seeing guys like Christian Jones take them back for touchdowns. Alabama not used to giving them up, although of course against Auburn last year, but normally a kickoff return for a score ties it for West Virginia.
Normally with a Nick Saban coach team, you wouldn't expect to have that breakdown on the kickoff unit. A lot of teams in the offseason focus on offense, defense, and special teams are the ones that take the longest to come around in the season, but that has not been the case with Alabama, but that was a breakdown in their lanes.
Remember, West Virginia was 4-8 last year, 6-12 in the Big 12 the last 2 years. Maybe better things are ahead in 2014, though. Christian Jones, who returned to kickoff for a score in this game last year. And Jones trying to get outside. Slips a tackle at the 20. Causes two Mountaineers to run into each other, and then Jones gets out of bounds near the 26-yard line. Starting September 25th, TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. That's the night for the premiere of How to Get Away with Murder. That's Thursday, September 25th, after the premiere of Scandal on ABC. So what do you expect here from Alabama's offense? 1:31 left. First time starting quarterback, one timeout.
Well, I think you're going to see what level of confidence that Lane Kiffin has in Blake Sims here with one timeout, a minute and a half.
They're going to keep it on the ground on first down, and there's no running room for TJ Yeldon. Only a gain of one. Kwiatkowski on the stop. They won't huddle here on second down and 9.
You got to get him some confidence, right? You got to let him throw the football.
They will here. Sims moving to his right, dumps it off. White brought down in play at the 29-yard line, so they only gained a couple yards there. Clock is inside a minute. Third down, one timeout left.
Now I think they're just content to let this run down.
They are 6 of 8 on third down. Need to get to the 36-yard line. Sims, and again everybody covered, so Sims will run and get the first down, stays inbounds, and then steps out near midfield. Keeps his timeout, and they have 28 seconds left.
Boy, that's just poor defense there. You cannot lose contain on the outside. It's one thing to let the quarterback run, but then to get out of bounds and stop the clock and have time now to get in the huddle and call a play. That's just poor leverage by West Virginia on the defensive side.
Adam Griffith made a 48-yard field goal earlier in the game. 47, excuse me. On first down. Sims unloads and finds White inside the 40-yard line. So the clock will stop to reset the chains with 20 seconds left.
Good strong throw there on the inside. Sometimes a 2-minute drill at the end of the first half can be a great confidence booster to a quarterback, and that was a nice throw from Blake Sims.
Going to look to the sideline here to Christian Jones. And he got out. Clock will stop with 9 seconds left, and they're at the 32-yard line. For the most part, Sims has been sharp. He's 14 of 18 for 157 yards and no turnovers.
Yep. And there were only a couple of plays there where it looked like he kind of went haywire, but other than that, he's been solid. It looks like he's led the team on the sideline. He's been engaged with his players. Now orchestrating a 2-minute drill right here. You got to be smart. Got to know situation football. You got a timeout. You can throw the ball in the middle of the field, but just be ready to right by that official to call the timeout. You need 4 or 5 more yards to give your kicker a better shot.
9 seconds left, second down. Sims throws, and a catch made by Cooper.
Call timeout.
4 seconds remaining. And it will be about a 42-yard attempt from here, so big play there.
Oh, that was very well done by Blake Sims. It didn't look like Lane Kiffin wanted to get into a 2-minute situation. It almost fell into it when Blake Sims made that athletic run, but give him credit. He orchestrated that 2-minute drill to perfection.
You know, we talked about it earlier about will the committee look at rankings, and do rankings mean anything anymore in college football? We've seen Ohio State, a top 10 team, struggle today. A top 10 team in South Carolina get blown out. A number 2 team against a team that lost 8 games last year, playing even here in a half.
Well, I don't put a whole lot of stock into what happened last year. I mean, West Virginia, in my opinion, and I think Oliver Luck would agree as well, I think they're better at every position. So, you know, I don't put a whole lot of stock into that.
And a timeout going to be called here by West Virginia. It will be a 41-yard attempt by Adam Griffith.
They had 9 guys have season-ending injuries on defense. Dana Holgorsen did a year ago, and their quarterback was hurt, played with a torn labrum most of the year. And by the way, they played some pretty good games. They beat Texas, you know, beat TCU. So they played Oklahoma tough early in the year. So I think.
Yeah, the big win was Oklahoma State last year.
I don't think that West Virginia last year is going to be indicative of what they're going to be like this year. I think they're going to be much improved.
A lot of people think it'll come down to Baylor and Oklahoma in the Big 12, but we'll see.
That's right. They lost to Texas in overtime, but they took Texas to overtime.
41-yard try. Snap a little bit high. And the kick is good. At the horn, Adam Griffith buries a 41-yard field goal to give Alabama the lead at halftime. Good job to get it down, and Griffith puts it through. Alabama, which will get the football to start the second half, leads it by 3. Coach Saban now with Tom.
Coach, a lot of momentum swings between you and West Virginia, but your quarterbacks played well, showed poise when your offense has been backed up. How would you assess his performance in the first half?
Well, you know, he's made enough good plays. I just think that, you know, we got to get the game management part of it right. We got to call timeout a couple times when we're in the wrong formation. Don't have the right play called, but he has made plays. He's played instinctively. You know, there's a couple other plays we could have made, but you know, the big thing for me is we got to play better on defense and special teams. I mean, defensively, we've made a lot of mental errors. We're not getting lined up right. We're not running the stunts right. We're soft. So, you know, we really need to get ourselves some poise on defense. And I think that, you know, Blake will settle down here in the second half.
All right, Coach, go talk to him.
Thank you.
Interesting calling his defense soft there in the first half. Yet despite all those problems that Coach Saban just talked about, they lead it 20-17 at halftime.
And execute. He wants better execution, but he wants to keep the same pace.
And Tommy, how about the fact West Virginia had the ball for less than 11 minutes and put up more than 200 yards of total offense? They actually ran fewer plays than Alabama. Nick Saban was telling us yesterday, you know, they normally run about 65 plays. He made that comment after seeing that A&M ran 99 plays on Thursday. West Virginia ran just 35 plays in that first half. Alabama will get the ball to start the second half. Christian Jones and Andrew White are deep. Here's Jones. A couple of returns for scores in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game last year, but bottled up short of the 25-yard line. Ricky Rumpf led the charge. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Lane Kiffin, his first game as offensive coordinator for Alabama. calling the plays from the field. You see Nick Saban in the huddle with him as well. We talked about that great throw by Trickett. Beautiful catch by Kevin White for the touchdown. And a Mario Alford, 100-meter champ in high school, outrunning the Alabama players there on special teams. But the Tide with the 3-point lead. Blake Sims has taken every snap at quarterback, his first career start. A 2-year backup to A.J. McCarron, 5th-year senior. And as Grease said, only 4 incompletions in that first half. He's going to roll left and throw here, and that was nearly picked off by Wes Tonkery. Let's go a little bit more in depth on the first half stats. We talked about time of possession. Alabama very good on 3rd down. And it seemed like West Virginia ran the ball better than just 48 yards. They did have some success between the tackles against Alabama, which was surprising. There was a penalty on that previous play on West Virginia, holding on the defense on Dontrell Hyman. Automatic first down.
Boy, and Blake Sims was lucky that ball was not intercepted. I know there was a penalty on the play, but that ball went right through the arms of the linebacker. That was the first really poor decision that I've seen him make in this game. Go back and take a look at it. He's rolling out and tries to throw that ball. I mean, it went right through the hands of Witkowski. So that's Tonkery, the linebacker. And that's where you got to make, you're outside the pocket, you got plenty of time, you can use your legs. You try to force one in there. That was a mistake.
But again, holding. So Alabama with a first down at its 34-yard line. TJ Yeldon with 2 first-half touchdowns after 14 rushing scores a year ago. Another pass play here. Sims setting up, airing it out, going for Cooper, and another penalty flag. True freshman Drayvon Henry was running with Cooper. Darryl Worley was down there as well. And it'll be pass interference on West Virginia. Back-to-back Mountaineer penalties. First shot that he's taken downfield.
Pass interference. Defense number 6, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They ran a double move. They ran a slant and go on the outside, thinking that they would get a bite from Darryl Worley. There is no bite. Worley plays it really well, and over the top, ball's a little bit underthrown, and I don't.
Nope,
come over there and get your arm in there. That's not interference. That's a no call.
So bad call there. Gives Alabama the ball near midfield. Back-to-back penalties on West Virginia's D.
Yeah, sorry. Normally the only way you get a call there is if you fight back to the ball, but Cooper didn't do that.
No. Here's Yeldon off the edge. Grabbed at the 47-yard line. Gets some help from teammates. There is another penalty marker down. They'll spot the ball at the 44-yard line. See what the penalty's for. Some new starters on that offensive line for Alabama, including the left tackle Cam Robinson, a true freshman.
Holding. Offense number 72, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Leon Brown, who's been shaken up, missed a couple weeks of practice.
Just got his right arm out. He's right here. You'll see he gets his right arm. When the defensive tackle tries to disengage, he gets him right around the collar, right there. It's a good call. Now, Leon Brown was hurt through training camp, and Coach Saban said he's got a ton of talent. He had an ankle injury and wasn't able to crack the starting lineup, but he's a top reserve.
They're replacing Cyrus Kwanjo, 2nd-round pick, at left tackle spot, and lobbing it downfield. A beautiful throw by Sims, pulled in by DeAndrew White near the first down. Got an injured Alabama player. It's DeAndrew White, 19-yard pass play.
See play action here, and you got to anticipate and throw with touch here. What happens to Andrew White here? He comes down hard. You hope that he just gets the wind knocked out of him.
Clean hit by the defender. I think his head hit the turf there. Looked like pretty hard.
Or maybe his shoulder. He's holding that arm. You get that stinger, and if you've never had a stinger before, it grabs your breath and takes it away. And
Brian, you surprised they've come out throwing downfield the way they have here in the second half?
No, I'm not. I think you have some of the best skill players in all of college football. Amari Cooper, DeAndrew White. We haven't even talked about O.J. Howard, the tight end. You've got these guys on the outside. You're in a close game. You've got to come out and be aggressive. And even though you got a young quarterback, throw the ball up. Let him make a play.
So they got 19 yards there on 1st down and 20. Now they'll pound it with Yeldon. And he's able to pinball off defenders and get the 1st down to the 40-yard line. So a fresh set of downs for Alabama, leading by 3 early here in the 3rd quarter.
And one thing we have not seen from this Alabama offense, outside of a couple plays by DeAndre White and Amari Cooper, is the explosive nature of these playmakers on offense. And last year there was a ton of explosive plays. A.J. McCarron taking advantage, and that has to be an element of this offense that continues to grow this year, even though you have a new quarterback.
McCarron had great numbers. Think about it. He was the Heisman runner-up through 28 touchdown passes last year. Sims looking downfield again, and incomplete. Trying for Kenyon Drake. And there was a penalty flag down.
Holding. Offense, number 72, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's 2 penalties on Leon Brown on this drive.
That's never good when you get circled twice in one drive for holding. but here it is. Take a look. Leon Brown in pass pro here. It looks like he just got tripped, and you could argue whether that's holding or not. But anytime that defender goes down and you're engaged, you're at risk for getting a penalty thrown.
So 1st and 20 again. They got 19 yards the last time in this position. Sims passing again. Now he steps up, able to spin out of the tackle and head out of bounds at the 46-yard line. And oh my, there was a collision on the near sideline between 2 West Virginia players, Hyman and Kwiatkowski. And Kwiatkowski is shaken up.
Well, no, Kwiatkowski was coming back trying to make a tackle, and he got blindsided. That's Amari Cooper there.
It was Cooper. Initially, it was hard to tell if there was a collision. When there was a collision after that initial hit by Cooper. We'll step aside here while they tend to Nick Kwiatkowski. For Alabama, inside the West Virginia 45-yard line. Run play. It's Yeldon. He's inside the 40-yard line before he's shoved out. And that's a gain of about 7 or 8 on the play.
Alabama and Lane Kiffin along this sideline really been working the offense as we see another injured West Virginia Mountaineer down and attended to here on the Alabama sideline. You're seeing Lane Kiffin discuss with Nick Saban right now maybe some thoughts here on this 3rd and 6. But up until this point, very little involvement from Nick Saban. I think he's given the reins to Lane Kiffin to say, hey, mix it up. A lot of personnel groupings, a lot of shifts and formations. We've seen a lot of different looks from Alabama on offense. But really, it's been the lone leadership from Lane Kiffin on this series. Nowhere near the involvement that we saw in the first half, guys.
I think what's interesting is these 2 guys have both been head coaches at major college campuses, and Lane Kiffin now, they got to figure each other out. How are they going to communicate? How often are they going to communicate?
Where the momentum is on your football team, I think they've got to be very careful with what they allow him to do at the line of scrimmage on this particular down.
Guys, I think it's interesting that as successful as Nick Saban has been, he's always looking for other ideas. And he brought Lane Kiffin in after Kiffin was fired by USC. And he'd sit in on the meetings, and then he'd ask him, what did you think? They'd have a sit down for 15, 20 minutes after film study, and he would get Kiffin's thoughts. And one of the reasons why he hired him to be his offensive coordinator. 3rd down and 6 inside the 40 after Golson was shaken up for West Virginia. They run it, Yeldon, and he's brought down right at the line of scrimmage by K.J. Dillon. It's 4th down. Let's see if they let Blake Sims stay on the field here. Looks like they will. They're going to bring O.J. Howard in, a pass-catching tight end.
Well, I think that's probably what Lane Kiffin was asking Nick Saban, was if we don't get it on 3rd down, we're going to go for it on 4th. And so I get my play call ready, and saw that play came in quick. Got to isolate Cooper. He's in the slot.
Rolling that way is Sims, going for Cooper, overthrew him. West Virginia takes over on downs. Perhaps miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
Now that's just an overthrow there, Dave. They had exactly what they wanted. They anticipated the blitz. They brought the blitz from the edge, and you roll out, max protect. You're going to see, here it comes here. You're going to roll out, and they got one-on-one coverage. You just got to complete this. This is between the quarterback and receiver. Perfect play call. You just got to give your receiver a chance to come back and make that play. But if you throw it onto the sideline, you don't give him a chance.
That's twice we've seen him on the move throw an inaccurate ball.
They saw exactly what they wanted there, and as a play caller, you can't do much more, and that's where you have execution, and Coach Saban talks about execution and details, and they bit him right there.
First offensive snap for West Virginia in about an hour. Real time will have to wait.
Timeout, West Virginia.
Oh,
the first charge of the half.
Have to burn a timeout early in the second half after a change of possession. It was going to be their first offensive snap since the 8:17 mark of the second quarter. Again, they've had the ball for 11 minutes on offense, but only down 3. Mountaineers had to waste a timeout after the change of possession. They couldn't get lined up. Kevin White, who had a big catch in the first half, in motion. They run Russell Shell, and he's mobbed. Big hit by Denzel Duvall. Michelle, who was a transfer from Pitt, made some plays on the ground in the first half, but couldn't get anything there.
Well, you know this Alabama defense got an earful from Nick Saban at halftime after he told us on the air they were soft. We'll see in this first series how they come out in the second half.
Trickett to throw. Moving to his left, and he can run all day. Trickett past midfield, and he steps out of bounds. Nobody on that side of the field for Alabama. It's a 13-yard run. Quentin Spain, a guy you've talked about a lot, was out there blocking.
Yeah, well, they wanted to set up a screen, but the back got tackled by the defense, and so great job by Clint Trickett of knowing exactly what to do when your screen man gets bottled up. You see him right there. He gets caught up, and you just tuck that ball and run.
Shell hammered by Reuben Foster. He'll lose yardage there. So they've tried to run on first down twice in this possession, and nothing doing on both plays.
Boy, and the two guys you probably would guess got the most earful were the two inside backers at halftime, Reuben Foster and Reggie Ragland. They got run ragged in the first half. So Reuben Foster came out ready to play in the second.
Again, they're calling the defense with Trey DePriest out. 1-game suspension for a minor NCAA infraction. And they also lost C.J. Mosley to the NFL. First-round draft choice. Their 2 safeties, Clinton Dix and Sunseri, gone as well to the pros. Trickett going for a White jump ball. Did he catch it again? He did! What a grab again by Kevin White inside the 25.
Kevin White is eating Bradley Silv for lunch today. He's going up, getting the ball. He's got size, he's got strength, and when they get one-on-one with Silv, they're going to take a shot.
27 yards. Now Trickett in trouble, has to get rid of it. That might be grounding. I don't know if he was outside the pocket. There certainly was not a receiver in the area as Xavier Dixon was bearing down on the quarterback. They're still discussing it.
It looked like he was outside the hash.
I don't know. It was pretty darn close.
Let's take a look. Yeah, the ball's right on the hash, so it's easy to tell here. No, I think you're right. That's not outside.
Yeah, there's the flag. Good call. Loss of down.
Intentional grounding on the offense. Number 9. Loss of down, spotted with foul. Second down.
It's a big mistake. You get that big play, and then you come back and have a penalty and the loss of down as well.
It's a good job by that official. Having a conference, making sure you get it right, not reacting, but communicating and getting the call right. It's a good job.
Second down and 19 now. After the loss of down, Trickett with time, and open in the middle of the field is Shelton Gibson, wrapped up at the 30-yard line. So they got about 4 of it back.
So if I'm Dana Holgorsen and Clint Trickett right now, I'm trying to throw the ball in the middle of the field where these zone-dropping linebackers who don't have a whole lot of experience have to operate.
Trickett on 3rd down and long, can't take a sack. And has an open man, but it's dropped by Gibson at the 15-yard line. Was right at the first down marker. And now they're going to have to try a long field goal to tie the game.
That's the third drop in this game by wide receivers for West Virginia. He may not have made the first down, but at least you give yourself an opportunity to maybe go for it on fourth down. But again, in the middle of the field, wide open passing lanes in zone coverage against the Alabama secondary and linebacking crew.
Josh Lambert hit a 50-yard field goal last year. This is a 47-yarder looking to tie it at 20. No chance. So Alabama's defense holds. A big play through the air, wasted. A drop by Shelton Gibson. And now Alabama will take over with good field position, still on top.
Well, we don't know what the outcome of this game is going to be, but if West Virginia doesn't end up getting it done, they're going to go back to two plays. That play right there, which could have potentially gave an opportunity to go for it, and on that first drive, not punching that ball in the end zone and settling for 3 points.
And neither team has had a double-digit advantage. You wonder if Alabama goes down the field and scores, can West Virginia recover from that? We've seen them twice bounce back with scoring drives after Alabama got a touchdown. Sims, pressure off the edge. Sims saw it, but he's still going. And his pass pulled in by Cooper. Nicely done at the 43-yard line.
West Virginia brought the corner fire off the edge, and no, I don't think he saw it until late. He's going to come right here. But this is the kind of athlete that Blake Sims is. You can get an unfree guy, and at the very last minute, just move slightly, not lose your composure, keep your eyes downfield, and make a completion. That's the kind of stuff that the coaching staff for Alabama wants to see out of Blake Sims.
Back to the ground, and big Derrick Henry. And Henry keeping those feet moving. Henry gets the first down. So on the previous play, Amari Cooper, who has 9 catches, 7 and gone for first downs, they go back then to Henry, and he gets a first down into Mountaineer territory.
You know, we've seen a lot of T.J. Yeldon, Derrick Henry. I haven't seen a whole lot of Kenyon Drake, and he might be one of the most explosive backs they have on the team.
Quick throw to the flat to Cooper out in space. And a nice open field bring down. Darryl Worley able to wrestle him to the floor at the 39-yard line. A pickup of 6, so 10 catches and over 100 yards now. Amari Cooper, about 1,000 yards as a freshman. Last year held to 736. You think he might be the best in the country, his position?
He certainly has an opportunity to prove it this year. I mean, he's got the talent, the shiftiness, and the smarts.
Cut back by Henry. Gaping hole in the West Virginia defense. And Henry all the way to the 26. A 13-yard pickup.
Derrick Henry says, let me keep eating. Just keep feeding it to me. Let me keep eating. And you start to wonder as the game goes on, the physical nature of this offensive line from Alabama starting to take a toll on West Virginia up front. And as soon as you dedicate more guys in the box for West Virginia, leave one-on-one coverage with Amari Cooper on the outside.
Pressure off the edge. It's picked up, and the pass is caught by the fullback Fowler. He's out of bounds around the 19-yard line. Midway through the third quarter. Just tuning in, you're probably surprised at the score. West Virginia lost 8 games last year. Alabama, even though there's some new faces, including offensive coordinator and quarterback, the offense hasn't been great, but really the defense and special teams problematic, according to Nick Saban. Alabama on the move here, 2nd and 3. And Henry with a first down inside the 5. Touchdown! He only had 35 carries all of last year. I think he'll get more than that in 2014.
It just got so much speed for a big man, and he also has the patience as well. And if you give him a crack and he starts downhill, it's almost impossible to stop him with one guy. Great block there by Cam Robinson, the true freshman left tackle that they are very high on. And then you get a block to lead him out from Jalston Fowler, and the rest is Henry.
44 yards on that drive alone for Henry. 85 for the game. Extra point by Griffith makes it a 10-point lead for Alabama. 3 rushing touchdowns today for the Tide. 2 in the first half by West Virginia. And the Tide now with a 10-point lead. Let's see how the Mountaineers respond. Alford, who returned that kickoff for a score in the second quarter, is deep. They're going to kick it the other way to Shell. Shell being chased, and he's able to somehow get away from one guy, but just too many members of Alabama down there tackling him inside the 10.
You start seeing these backs for Alabama get going, and big reason why is this offensive line and true freshman. Wondered how Cam Robinson, 6'6", 323-pound freshman out of Monroe, Louisiana, how is he going to react? The #1 guy coming out of high school, and he's starting to get some push on that first level, and on that touchdown run as well. Had a big block to free Henry for the score.
Packed house here in Atlanta. A lot of Alabama fans, as you would imagine, loudest they've been yet. Throw downfield to Smallwood. And boy, if that tackle isn't made at the 25-yard line by the safety, Nick Perry, Smallwood's gone.
Now they tried to fit that in between the safety and the corner in a 2-deep coverage, and those are dangerous throws. Sometimes those get picked off where you blow up your wide receiver.
Gonna run it here, nowhere to go for Shell. He tried to run on first down several times here in the second half. Ball on the ground, but they rule that Shell was tackled. Lost yardage. It's Jonathan Allen in there first for Alabama. Starting to settle down now up front and make some plays, negative plays.
It's so hard for Alabama to prepare in the offseason for the tempo of West Virginia, because they don't run that style of offense. So it's not surprising it took them a little while to kind of settle into the pace, be able to get lined up and make their adjustments.
And I imagine some choice words at halftime probably help. Out on the open field is Shell, and Shell is loose past the 40-yard line. He stepped out of bounds at the 47. Nice moves by Russell Shell. 20 yards there, 23.
Poor tackling from Reuben Foster. He comes out and falls down. Nobody blocks him. Then he just runs right over Bradley Silv. I mean, those are issues that we haven't seen on Alabama's defense in quite some time. And you can see that they've got a lot of youth. They've got a ton of talent, but the youth is showing itself in this game.
See the official holding the ball down as there was a substitution issue. West Virginia now has 14 plays, 10 yards or longer. They got the ball near midfield, 1st and 10. And Trickett's pass is pulled in at the 40-yard line by Jordan Thompson. Another Mountaineer first down.
And I would continue to pump that ball in the middle of the field. It's pretty clear that's where this defense is vulnerable, at least right now, with these linebackers and no Trey Priest.
And here's Kevin White inside the 35-yard line, out of bounds inside the 30. Again, those receivers out there doing a good job blocking after the catch. That was Jordan Thompson that time.
That's a big key in this offense. When you're going to throw the ball on the perimeter, with your guys willing and able to get out on the edge and block, because if not, those plays are negative yards.
From the 27 of Alabama, here's Dustin Garrison. Only had 4 attempts last year because of an injury. Took a medical red shirt. They're still trying to run on first down, and they did get positive yardage that time. Clock at 5.5 here in the third. West Virginia down 10.
And I think Dana pumped the brakes on the pace a little bit. He just needs to get his defense a little bit of rest. And you know, in the past, early years of Dana Holgorsen, he'd be on the gas pedal all the time. But now I think he's got a much broader view of the game and protecting his defense.
They spread it out here. Trickett going to the middle of the field, and White was open again. The pass just behind him. Saw that in the first half. There was a tip ball where White was coming across, and had he caught it, would have had a lot of room to run. 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, he got his feet crossed up there. He was going back in the pocket and didn't really need to. And you're falling away, it's hard to throw the ball to your left in front.
Trickett on 3rd down and long. Over the middle. It is juggled and dropped. Another opportunity West Virginia can't capitalize. Jordan Thompson unable to hang on. Here comes the field goal team. Josh Lambert missed a field goal on the last drive from 47 yards.
Perfectly thrown ball from Trickett right around Reuben Foster again in the middle of the field, and I don't think Foster tipped that. That's just a drop by Jordan Thompson, and that's been the biggest Achilles heel of this team tonight is not making those plays downfield for your team.
In order to beat Alabama, you can't have that many drops. 42-yard attempt by Lambert. And this time, he's good. So West Virginia able to rebound by getting 3. Alabama leads by 7. And tonight at 9 on ESPN, the Advocare Texas kickoff. Wisconsin and LSU. ESPN College Football Prime Time. Let's check in with Luke's down on the field.
Yeah, Tanner McAvoy originally signed with Steve Spurrier in South Carolina, then things didn't work out there with Connor Shaw playing so well. Went to junior college and then actually played as a safety last year from Wisconsin. And you hit the nail on the head, Grease. It's about having athleticism, forcing the defense to have to defend all 11 players, particularly with the quarterback running. It'll be interesting to see that new look Wisconsin tonight.
Big game for them and the Big Ten. Only Big Ten SEC matchup. Here's Christian Jones on the kickoff return. And Jones is met and dropped at the 25-yard line by Shelton Gibson. Alabama back on offense. Now Blake Sims has been solid. Over 200 yards passing, only 5 incompletions. Yes, he's had a couple of poor throws, and Coach Saban talked with Luke's at halftime about a couple times where he took too long to get the play and break the huddle.
So you see Lane Kiffin is calling the first play of every series from the sideline. He told us last night that he just wanted to do that to get everybody on the same page, take one more play call off the plate of young Blake Sims, and you know, that's one of the things he's doing. He's also kind of implemented the wristband so that he doesn't have to remember all the plays. Trying to do as much as he can to take the mental aspect off the play to Blake Sims.
Play action pass for the former running back. Sims pass on the money. First down catch for Amari Cooper at the 40-yard line.
You know, before the offense took the field there, Blake Sims was rounding up the troops, patting guys on the hiney, talking to him in the huddle. Watch his body language when the huddle breaks. Watch his body language actually throws an authoritative throw. This is a different player than we saw in the first half.
Well, he's also managing the game at the line of scrimmage. You see here, he's checking, making plays, making sure everybody knows what their role is.
From the 41-yard line, here's Derrick Henry. And he gets maybe a yard there, brought down by Kwiatkowski.
You know, Brian, it's so interesting that you referenced that at the line of scrimmage. If you go back to the latter part of the first quarter, when Blake Sims tried to do that in the red area and Nick Saban came running down the sideline to call a timeout, there seems to be a little bit more of a trust in the command and the leadership. One of those 3 factors that Nick Saban mentioned to us when it comes to being successful at the quarterback position here, the leadership is what's really starting to manifest itself right now with Blake Sims.
Sims on second down and long. Everybody covered. And now Sims going to air it out. And, boy, the defender fell asleep. And Christian Jones dropped the ball. K.J. Dillon had no idea that ball was being thrown his way. Christian Jones just dropped it inside the 10. Wow.
Well, I think K.J. Dillon, he's used to being up around the line of scrimmage. He's not used to playing the deep safety, and he just gets turned around. I mean, it looks bad. And you're right, he falls asleep, thought that the ball was thrown so high up in the air, he didn't know where the football was. And normally, sure-handed, Chris Jones turned his head to run before he brought it in. And that's a good decision from Blake Sims. You know, you got time, throw it down there, give your guy a chance to make a play.
Kept his eyes downfield the entire play. 3rd down and 9, big play here. They bring pressure. Sims gets out of there, showing off his running skills, heading for the first down, but stepped out. And now a flag as there was a late hit out of bounds on the quarterback. Well, if he didn't get the first down,
looked like he ran into somebody on the sideline.
And it's going to be a first down anyway, even if he didn't pick it up there because of the flag thrown there.
But it looked like he ran into somebody that was on the sideline. One of the West Virginia players was standing on the sideline. It looked like it gave him a forearm shiver. was definitely not on anybody in the field to play.
After the play, unsportsmanship-like conduct on the defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, that's a guy that's not on the 2 deep.
Yeah, it's Andrew Bowie of Sean Walters. They both wear number 13.
It's Walters.
Sean Walters, yeah. Watch, he's standing on the sideline, and Sims goes out of bounds and jumps up.
That's just dumb. What are you doing if you're Sean Walters?
Looked like he got caught by surprise.
Yeah, but why would you push him?
I don't
You're
know.
begging for a penalty.
Listen, you can't throw a flag on that.
First down at the 38-yard line. Big hole for Yeldon inside the 25-yard line. They finally get to him at the 19. A gain of 19 for T.J. Yeldon.
This is a trap play. Watch the tight end, Howard. He's going to come across the formation and kick out. Very well done. And T.J. Yeldon has the patience to wait for the block and find that seam. First time they've run that play, and it caught West Virginia by surprise.
A quick tempo here. Alabama up to the line in the red zone. Yeldon again finds another hole and steamrolls a couple defenders to the 12-yard line. Boy, Yeldon can do it all, whether it's between the tackles or on the perimeter.
Well, in the last drive Alabama had on offense, we saw them start to take control on the ground, and Cam Robinson, Quanjo, Kelly up front starting to exert their will, and this drive is no different.
Sims throwing a fade to the end zone and knocked away. Cooper, the intended receiver. And Worley deflected it. Third down and 2 at the 11. And a lot of options here, obviously, with the backs that you have, if they elect to run it.
Lane likes to organize all these calls by down and distance and formation. He knows he's got third down calls. He's got third down calls in the red zone. He's got a 2 to 4 list, and he'll pick one of these plays out of that list. And single back here, I'd be surprised if it's not some kind of run.
2 tight ends. It's Yeldon, and he is brought down short of the first down by Kyle Rose. They went on fourth down earlier on this possession and failed. Do you take the points here, or do you give your offense a shot? They're going to take the points.
They're going to kick it. Great play by the nose tackle. We haven't called his name a lot, Kyle Rose. But he's a heck of a football player, redshirt junior, and he's going up against a really good center for Alabama and Ryan Kelly, and he split the double team there, got in the backfield, and made a stop.
Adam Griffith 2 for 2. Both his previous field goals have been from better than 40 yards. This is a 27-yard try. Snap a little high, but the kick is good. And Alabama leads it by 10 late in the third quarter. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Robert Flores.
Playing each other with everything on the line.
Huge microscope for every team every week now. With again a 13-member selection committee picking the 4 teams, the 4 best teams. And almost running it out of the end zone was Alford after he had a kick return for a score in the first half.
You know, as we see Alabama's defense take the field right now, we were talking about Reuben Foster and pass coverage from his middle linebacker position on that last series. When Reuben Foster was coming out of high school, that was his area of deficiency. He was a tremendous vertical upfield attacker, but he was not what we would call a space player. So what they've done by scheme is they have put him out in space and forced him to match up with some slots and some guys that he's not capable of matching up with. Let's see if they remedy that, or if West Virginia continues to attack them down the seams.
Well, but Lugs, it hasn't even been man-to-man coverage. He's just been in zone drops. And, you know, for a young linebacker, knowing where to drop in certain situations is one of the toughest things to learn.
There's that touch shovel pass on the end around. This time it doesn't work. Jordan Thompson dropped by Nick Perry for a loss. Again, we've seen a lot of first downs by West Virginia that have gone for negative plays here in the second half, where in the first half they were getting big chunks on first down. Quick throw to the sideline, and there's room for Alford. Out at the 28-yard line, so 5 yards. Third down and about 7 here.
West Virginia needs this first down. They need to ramp up the tempo, and they've got to get this first down. They cannot have another quick 3-and-out punt.
They'll bring Kevin White in motion. Trickett firing deep, and what a grab! Wow, Jordan Thompson almost on his back made the catch with Bradley Silv right there.
Well, Jordan Thompson had the big drop earlier in the game, and he makes up for it here. Bradley Silv, terrible fundamentals there. He in every situation they've thrown the ball up on Silv, it's come down with it.
Great throw by Trickett there to Alford to the 30-yard line, close to another first down. Boy, they get up there fast. 33 yards down the field, they get right up there and snap it. Excellent pass by Trickett, and that's going to be the final play of the third quarter. Alabama leading by 10, but West Virginia not going away. Fourth quarter coming from Atlanta. Hands play brought to you by Allstate. A couple of great catches down the field. How about this throwing catch? Kevin White, a touchdown in the first half. And then just moments ago, Jordan Thompson falling down makes the grab, and West Virginia now with the ball at the 30-yard line, 2nd down and 1.
I tell you, in this situation, 2nd down, you got a free down. I would do the same thing. I'd throw this ball up to Kevin White, see if he might get a big play.
Play action, and Trickett rolling to his lap, throws back across his body, and the catch is made at the 5 by White. 1st and goal, West Virginia.
Great play and effort by quarterback Clint Trickett. As we got one player down here, I think it might be Quentin Spain.
Seen a handful of West Virginia players injured here in the second half. This is a great throw.
Great effort
by Trickett.
And a nice job by Kevin White. You know, a lot of young receivers don't come back to the football. They'll try to go back into the end zone, but quarterback's very difficult to throw that ball over the top. But if you come back in front, it's a much easier throw, and he made himself friendly to the quarterback. Great night. 7 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown.
You know, he had big games against big teams last year. 130 yards against Baylor, 89 against Texas, 80 against Oklahoma. And you're right, it is Spain. They're outstanding. Alabama 5. Remember in the first quarter, West Virginia got inside the 5 and had to settle for a field goal. Trying to avoid it happening a second time. Play action, Trickett, wide open, but they cannot execute. Wellman unable to come up with it. 2nd down.
Perfect play call, perfectly run route. Take a look, he's going to go in the flat. He's wide open, and Trickett, you just need to put it on there. That fullback is in there. He's hitting 250-pound linebackers all game. You throw a ball out there low outside, it's hard for him to get his hands around. You got to put it right in his face mask for that guy to fall in the end zone and score.
Quentin Spain, by the way, is back in the game, so he's okay. 2nd down and goal. That was the only incompletion for Trickett on this possession. Throwing again, going to the end zone, and incomplete. It was Kevin White. Cyrus Jones able to deflect it away. 3rd down and goal.
Perfectly thrown ball from Clint Trickett. He is throwing dimes out here tonight. That ball is right in the breadbasket. Give Cyrus Jones credit. That's good technique there. Doesn't have time to look back. But when that ball comes in, you rake the hands as a corner and get that ball out. It was well played by Cyrus Jones.
Didn't think that he got there too early?
No.
3rd down and goal. And the snap is over Trickett's head. He just has to fall on it. Now it'll be a long field goal, and that's twice today that West Virginia has gotten to the 5 or better of Alabama and failed to get a touchdown. They lose 19 on that play.
Tyler Orlovsky, the center, looked like he had a blitz coming right. Look at the both A-gaps, the linebackers coming. It looks like that affected him. He had to pop back really fast to pick up that blitz on the interior, and it affected the snap.
So now Josh Lambert, 2 of 3 today, trying to get it back to a one-possession game. It's a 41-yard attempt. And the kick is good. West Virginia back within 7. So despite the big loss on 3rd down, smart play by Trickett to jump on it. That saved 3 points. Weekend, that was yesterday. Tony had a press conference as well, did not take any questions, said at some point there will be a time for him to answer questions. Meanwhile, Alabama on top by 7, and the Tide will get the ball. Here's Christian Jones past the 20, full head of steam, and he's brought down to the 25-yard line. Can West Virginia stop Alabama? It certainly won't hurt that one of Alabama's best receivers, DeAndrew White, will miss the rest of the game with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, it looked like that one ball he caught, he came down hard. We didn't know if it was his head or shoulder, but he came down kind of funny on it, and hopefully that's not too serious an injury for Alabama.
You surprised that Alabama's run 5 more plays than West Virginia in this game?
I am, but it's been a more controlled offense, and they've done it on the ground, and there hasn't been a whole lot of time for West Virginia on offense, and they go so quick, and they've had success. It's you would expect it to be the other way around.
West Virginia's had the ball for just 18 minutes. Blake Sims in his first start at quarterback. Dangerous throw, and it's picked off by Daryl Worley. Worley being chased and gets out of bounds. First turnover by Blake Sims, and it's a big one. There's a penalty flag thrown in the secondary as well on the return.
First time he's tried to get the ball to O.J. Howard in the seam. Problem is, you have to control the corners on the outside, and you got to know that if there's nothing holding the corner on the outside, here he is right here. Howard's going to come up, and he's just going to fall off and cut it on the inside. And you got to know, if you're Blake Sims, that I have no control on the outside, and that corner is going to read my eyes. That's just a young, not a young player, but a player with not a whole lot of experience, trying to force the ball down the field.
Now there was holding on the return, so it's West Virginia ball, but they lose a ton of yardage. Kiffin thought it was going to be a big play. He saw Howard open, but it's intercepted. Great play by Worley. Had a pick last year. Started just 4 games a year ago.
This situation, the down and distance, 13.5 minutes left in this game, backed up in your own end zone, and you're up 7 points, and that's a dangerous throw. I don't agree with forcing that ball down the field.
Well, in Grace, we talked in the break about that being the most manageable moment for Blake Sims. He had to manage that moment and turns the football over.
But they lose about 20 yards on the penalty. Here's Trickett trying to set up the screen to Smallwood, able to slip a tackle and get into Alabama territory. Gain of 3 or 4 as Reuben Foster gets the stop.
But at the same time, in defense of Blake Sims, Lane Kiffin gave himself away on the sideline too. He thought he had what he wanted. The design of that play was flawed, in my opinion.
They run it here, and pushing the pile is Smith. Only a couple yards though, so 3rd down and about 6 coming up.
Because if you're going to throw the ball in the seam to the tight end, you've got to control the outside corner with the wide receiver, and he didn't run downfield, so there's nothing to hold the corner.
3rd and 5. Trickett downfield, juggled and incomplete. A big hit as Jordan Thompson got nailed by Landon Collins. See what the Mountaineers do here on 4th down and 5.
Landon Collins polices that back end for Alabama, and he will make you pay. Clean hit, shoulder into the chest.
Now, he had already dropped the ball. He had dropped the ball before the contact.
Well, you would have too if that was coming.
They're going to punt here. So again, that 20 yards because the holding penalty on the return was big. They'd be in field goal range otherwise. Instead, the punt. Jones under it. And fair caught at the 12-yard line. So the mistake by Blake Sims does not hurt Alabama. The Tide still on top by 7 early in the fourth. Lost Alabama, 3-0 by West Virginia. Now let's see how the Tide handle things deep in their own end. Well, they run it here on first down after throwing it on first down last series. They will. TJ Yeldon past the 20-yard line. They're trying to strip it, but Yeldon too strong with the ball, takes it out to the 38. A 26-yard run.
You just think West Virginia had to think that they were just going to cut back here. They had to think there was going to be run. After your quarterback throws an interception, they sell out. They brought the blitz off the edge. They just guess wrong and get gashed.
And Alabama goes up tempo, but there was movement by the Tide.
False start. Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Leon Brown, 3 penalties on him.
And he's going to get the hook. He's coming out, and Alphonse Taylor, who started the game, is going to come in. And Mario Cristobal, the offensive line coach, and there's Nick Saban saying, look, 3 penalties, 2 holds and an offsides, and you're going to take a seat on the bench with me.
So first down and 15. They've got Fowler, the fullback, in here. Yeldon trying to bust it to the outside. Yeldon drilled out of play at the 40-yard line. Good gain, though, 7 yards. Yeldon over 100 yards on the day, 2 touchdowns. Got over 2,200 yards already in his young career. First Alabama player to get 1,000 yards each of his first 2 seasons on campus. So second down and 7. Sims wide open is Cooper. And Cooper, now with 12 catches, 1 shy of a school record, gets to midfield.
He loves this little quick out route. Watch how smooth he is out of his breaks. Doesn't have to slow down to break, and then when he gets the ball in his hand, he's got great moves. He's very shifty when he gets the football in his hands. And right now, West Virginia is anticipating full run, and so anytime that Alabama and Blake Sims want to throw the ball, they're going to have man-to-man coverage on the outside with Cooper.
Henry gets the call here into the secondary, and another Alabama first down to the 39-yard line. This drive started at the 12 just a few plays ago, and they're already inside the West Virginia 40. And Henry closing in on 100 yards rushing. And Dana Holgerson's defense get one more stop. Alabama early in the fourth, leading by 7. Henry again straight on. And dives to the 35. A 4-yard pickup, tripped up by Carl Joseph. Alabama rotating backs. Henry out. Yeldon in for second down. Yeldon, and stood up at the 33. I mean, third down and about 4 here.
they're continuing to stay in this no huddle. I think Lane Kiffin feels like this is giving them a little bit better rhythm. Now this is where, as a quarterback, you got to make the play. 3rd and 4. Stay on the field. You got to make the throw.
And Sims rolling out. Short pass caught by Christian Jones for a first down. You had freshman Cam Sims out there blocking in the route. And Jones was open. Sims put it on him. First down.
Yeah, that's just the old spread right option from the old West Coast system, which Lane Kiffin comes from that tree in the West Coast offense, and that's a staple on 3rd and 5 or less. From Joe Montana to Steve Young on down the line. That's going to be one of those top calls in the game plan in this offense. It'll be a little bit different than before.
Bring the fullback back in here. West Virginia stacks the box. Yeldon tracked down from behind by Carl Joseph for a loss on the play, but 2 or 3 yard setback. Now, big picture, even if Alabama goes on to win, what do you think overall this game says about where Alabama is as an SEC and a national championship contender?
Well, there were so many questions coming in, and it wasn't just quarterback. You know, talking with Coach Saban, you know, his questions were, he had questions at corner, right? After the way that the last 2 games ended a year ago, he had questions there. And based on the way that Bradley Silva's played this game, I would continue to have that question. Linebacker has got to continue to be a question. And you get Trady Priest back, but those are 2 questions that I think they're going to continue to have as the first month of the season goes on.
Here's Sims off play action, and Jones dropped it. Then it was almost picked off on the redirection by K.J. Dillon. So brings up a 3rd down and 12. It would be, if they can't move it here, about a 47-yard field goal.
And that's the second time that Christian Jones has had the ball hit his hands and then the ball hit the ground. And he's normally sure-handed. That's why he's on special teams and such a great return man. Those are the kinds of play with a quarterback that's new. You got to help him out and make those plays.
Safe to say the biggest 3rd down of Blake Sims' starting career.
The biggest decision he's going to have to make, right? You don't have to get a first down here. That's what you got to have in the back of your head.
Can't take a sack, though. Put him out of field goal range. And Sims going to throw a little bubble screen. Yeldon trying to keep the feet moving. He's wrapped up, minimal gain. It is 4th down. Here comes the field goal unit. Long attempt of about 46 coming up for Griffith.
And that's Lane Kiffin taking, you know, the variables out of the equation, right? You're not going to try to have him read down the field. You're just going to throw a screen. You know that if it's not there, you just dump it. So I think you're going to see that through the first month or month and a half of the season from Lane Kiffin with the quarterback is managing the game from the sideline. And that's going to take away some of the playmaking ability, but you got to do what you got to do.
Griffith, 45-yard attempt, and he has been perfect today. That makes it a 10-point lead again. He's 4 of 4 on field goals, and Alabama back up 33-23. That game's over on ESPN. Got a couple more games tonight on ABC and ESPN. Wisconsin, LSU, and ESPN, Florida State, Oklahoma State here on ABC. They won't even give Alford a chance at another return. He took it to the house in the first half. This will come out to the 25. Take a look at our game summary. Mentioned the kick return by Alford. 261 rushing yards for Alabama. The 1 turnover by Blake Sims, but there was a holding call on the return, so West Virginia, instead of having the ball at the 30, started in midfield, went 3 and out. And Alabama, on the strength of 4 field goals, leading at 33-23. And West Virginia can score fast. We'll see if Alabama's defense steps up. Go with a diamond formation. And here's Shell trying to power to the 30-yard line. He's stuck at the 28. Dalvin Tomlinson, who missed most of last year with a knee injury, made the tackle. You saw number 9 there, true freshman Deshaun Hand, also in the game. Here's Smallwood, and he won't even get back to the line of scrimmage. And the ball came out and recovered by West Virginia. So they actually gained a half-yard there. It was recovered by the right tackle, Lucas.
That was a big hit, yeah, by Nick Perry, the safety that came up. You know, I think that the pace of play from West Virginia in the second half has slowed down a little bit because I think that Dana Holgorsen wanted to protect his defense and not get off the field too fast. But now's the time. You got to put the foot on the gas pedal. You got to air it out, throw the football, and move and score points. Otherwise, you're not going to win this game.
They spread it out here. 3rd down and 7. No linebackers in the middle of the field. And Trickett throws over the middle, incomplete. Unable to come up with it with Shorts. You throw it too hard?
Nah, it's just a missed opportunity there. You got to put that ball out in front of Shorts. Sure, Shorts could probably make this play, but this is an easy throw for the quarterback. Just a little bit high. Shorts is 6'1", and you know that's a ball that could be thrown much better. And I think when West Virginia, they needed to get some points on that drive. When they look back at this game, it's going to be the little things. They were just off a little bit, dropped some balls. Trickett was outstanding most of the game, but that was a critical miss.
Great punt here. Jones backing up to his 14-yard line. And nowhere to go. Wrapped up at the 11-yard line. Harper on the special teams tackle. And Blake Sims returns to the field with a 10-point lead when we come back.
Check mark there, and leadership. I think he's done an outstanding job both on the field in those TD drives and then on the sideline, getting his guys ready to go back in, calling the plays at the line of scrimmage.
See if they just keep it on the ground here. West Virginia loading up to stop the run, and Yeldon busting it to the outside. Here comes a flag. Yeldon pushed out and near the 40-yard line, but likely coming back despite a 25-yard run. Amari Cooper, who has 12 catches for 130 yards, looked like he had a hold of a jersey.
Illegal block in the back on the offense, number 9. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
He's coming in from his receiver, trying to get a crack. Just pushes Worley in the back. It's a good call.
So even though they're backed up here, and you know West Virginia, you would think would stack the box. You keep running if you're Alabama. Would you put Sims in a position here, given that turnover you talked about, to throw the football at all in this possession with a 10-point lead?
Well, I think it's only 1st and 15, so you're still running the football here. I mean, the way that they've been running the ball and wearing down this West Virginia defensive front, I'd continue to give that ball to Yeldon.
Clock at 6.5. 1st and 14 officially at the 9. Yeldon gets across the 10 to about the 13-yard line, so a 4 or 5-yard gain before Kyle Rose brings him down. You know, I asked you on the last drive about Alabama, big picture. What about West Virginia and how they've impressed today? Maybe finally they'll get it going in the Big 12 this year.
I tell you, the most impressive thing that I've seen from West Virginia has been Clint Trickett. He's thrown the ball on the money most of this game. He missed that last 3rd down, but Dana Holgorsen is really encouraged by the progression of Clint Trickett. If he can stay healthy, he's not the biggest guy in the world. If he can stay healthy, they have a lot of weapons in Kevin White. If he can get mentally past that hurdle, they can challenge in the Big 12 and certainly be better than 4 and 8.
Henry on 2nd down gets a handful. Earl Joseph on the tackle, so 3rd down coming up. You'd think the next snap wouldn't come until inside 5 minutes to go. You know, West Virginia has Oklahoma and Baylor at home. They have to go to Texas and Oklahoma State. And they're coming off their worst year since 2001. 2-7 in the Big 12. 2 losses were in overtime, though. Meanwhile, Alabama, next big game is they have Florida Atlantic Southern Miss next. Next big game is Florida. You would think the Gators would be much improved this year. New offense, and they've got health on defense.
And that's the D-Day for a decision at quarterback. And you got to have somebody back there against that defense.
Sims on 3rd down has a completion to Chris Black right at the 1st down marker. And he's got it. Move the chains for the Tide.
One-on-one on the weak side, and I'll tell you, with the game on the line, you're only up 10, backed up on a 3rd down. You give that ball to Chris Black, and Dana Holgorsen didn't like it. But I'm surprised that's not Amari Cooper out there. It's Chris Black. But that goes to show you how far Chris Black has come as a true sophomore now. The trust of Lane Kiffin.
Now again, DeAndre White is out with a shoulder injury. Don't know if that'll be more than just today, but they do have depth. Here's Henry again to the 28-yard line.
So the real question is, you know, we came into this game thinking we would see both quarterbacks play, and we have not seen Jacob Coker. We got kind of the sense from Coach Saban last night that if Blake Sims went out and played well, that he would continue to have the ball and continue to be called upon. And I think next week, I would be surprised if Blake Sims doesn't run out again. And I think he's done enough to earn another start with this Alabama offense.
Another run play and second down. Henry past the 30. You would think that Nick Saban next week, if there's a healthy lead against Florida Atlantic and the week after against Southern Miss, that we're going to see Jake Coker get some reps. Because he said many times, look, the competition is ongoing. The decision was for today only. He told us, look, I don't have a plan. I'm just going to play Blake Sims, see how he does. Obviously, Coker didn't get in at all today. We did see him warm up at one point in the first half.
Yeah. And I think just to further the story a little bit, I've been surprised that Jake Coker hasn't picked this system up a little bit quicker. And I was at practice last week, and you know, he looks great in 7-on-7 drills. He gets into a team drill and looks like a different player. And that's not a good thing as a quarterback, obviously. And that's the reason that he did not start this game and didn't play in this game.
Timeout, Alabama. Their first charge, 30-second timeout.
Well, and talking with Lane Kiffin, he said it looked as if Coker last season hurt his knee. But healthy now. 3rd down and 2. And Henry close to the first down. We'll see where they spot it at the 34-yard line. The two inside backers, Witkowski and Tonkery, team up on the tackle. But there's something to be said for experience, how teammates respond to a guy in terms of leadership. And,
yeah,
you know, that obviously arm strength, accuracy, those things are important, but having an understanding of what you're seeing pre-snap and then during the play, equally important, if not more.
There's a lot of interesting dynamics to this conversation as it brings up a 4th down. But, you know, the fact that Blake Sims has put in the sweat equity, that he has been unselfish for his 4 years at Alabama. He's done everything the coaching staff has asked him to do, and his teammates love him, and they will follow him, and they will go through a brick wall for him. But again, at the end of the day, can Blake Sims take you to an SEC West championship, an SEC championship, and a national championship? I think the question is still unanswered.
Well, I think the defense has to play better.
The defense certainly has to play better, and the special teams has to play better. But you know, I think he's earned another start. But by that Florida game, they have to make a decision.
And a fair catch made inside the 30-yard line by Thompson. Let's check in with Robert Flores in the studio. Now it's great to see Todd Gurley healthy, one of the most explosive players in the country. Trickett, and it's pulled in by Smallwood at the 47-yard line. West Virginia can score quick, but they would need points and then have to get the onside kick. They do have 2 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, so remember, 2 timeouts, and they don't need to get a touchdown here. If they get down in there and it's 4th down, they need to kick a field goal.
Trickett to the sideline. Here's Kevin White, and pushed out of bounds, so they'll stop the clock. 2:10 remaining in the half. West Virginia with 390 yards of total offense. But again, they've run 15 fewer plays than Alabama. Nick Saban told us we usually run about 60, 65. They've run 81 plays. Trickett in trouble. Sacked inside the 40-yard line A breakdown in protection, and Jonathan Allen there to take down the quarterback.
Jonathan Allen is one of those young players in the front line for Alabama that this coaching staff is excited about. 6'3", 275-pound sophomore, and he's got some quicks.
Third down and 18. A swing pass to White. He'll get a chunk of it back here. He won't go down. Tackled inbounds, so the clock continues to run, and it's fourth down.
Any more urgency from Clint Trickett? You got to get going. You only have 1 minute and 20 seconds left in this game. You got to get the play called and start moving.
And you got to get to the 43-yard line of Alabama, or the game's over. Trickett has to throw it short, and the Tide will take over on downs.
I don't know if Clint Trickett knew it was fourth down. I think he took that sack, and I don't know that he knew that was fourth down. Otherwise, I don't know why he would throw the ball in the flat like that and get tackled. That game's over. You got to throw the ball past the sticks in that case right there.
Overall, though, good showing by West Virginia. Not many expected them to be even in the game. And so for Dana Holgorsen, even though it's a loss, at least there are a lot of positives for his football team going forward. And for Alabama, we're going to get a look here at Jake Coker finally. His first rep of the night at quarterback. You would think they'll just hand the ball off, but at least he gets a few snaps. He's a Mobile, Alabama native, same high school as A.J. McCarron. He does have 2 years left after graduating from Florida State. 2 years of eligibility with Alabama, and there were too many guys in the huddle, so penalty flag.
Flag. Illegal substitution on the offense, number 13, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That might have been the first rep for our Darius Stewart tonight, and perhaps his last. Blake Sims had the one interception, no touchdown passes, but overall pretty good, right, for a first start?
With the amount of pressure on Blake Sims, yeah, smile, take a breath, you can exhale. There's a lot going on with that young man, a lot of butterflies in this game, and to come out with a victory, most important, number one, and number two is to put some things on tape. The last time that we saw Blake Sims was a spring game, and it was atrocious. And so to come out here and get a victory, the kind of numbers that he had, they weren't perfect. He made some mistakes. We knew he was going to make some mistakes. They weren't the catastrophic type. And I think he could be proud of the performance he had today.
Now, first game for Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban working together. Obviously no preseason in college football, so you got to work out the kinks in real live action.
It was interesting on the sideline. A lot more interaction than I anticipated.
Yeah, we didn't think we'd see Saban as close to Kiffin throughout the game as we did. And in some of the huddles on offense, Drake brought down to the line of scrimmage. And that'll do it. Alabama wins it 33-23. T.J. Yeldon had a couple of touchdowns on the ground. Derrick Henry had a score. Both those backs over 100 yards rushing. And a career high for Amari Cooper, 12 catches for 130 yards. As Blake Sims wins his first start as the Alabama quarterback. Meanwhile, Clint Trickett threw for 361 yards and a touchdown. Nick Saban at halftime called his defense soft. We'll see what he has to say about his defense after tonight's win.